What's up? What's up? I don't know why I put it on 11 a.m., but it was supposed to be 11 p.m., even on leave for that. Mm-mm-mm. I guess we're bored today. How you feeling, Two Hooks? Yep, I'm back. So what's up? We got three people in the building. Say what's up. How you doing? Uh, I think it's kind of weird when you're pondering in this life that we live, and some things are simplistic, some things are beautiful, some things are extra trippy. By the way, um, example: when it comes to, excuse me, when it comes to things like people talk about settling, people don't settle. They just don't like where they really rank. And when you look at it all, what you really realize is that it's not bad. It's not bad. You got to be honest with yourself, and most people are not. They're fundamentally liars. When I hear a chick talk about settling, in the back of my mind immediately says, you look down upon yourself, so you're going to project that on the people that equal you. And when you think about it, it's not going to be very thought of. It's not going to be what you really expect. See, people really expect perfection. People do not like where they sit in the scheme of things constantly. Instead of being happy with someone who's very compatible with you, you look for this incredible bullshit. I want you to really think about that. In our lives, it's almost like being a pope. You're an elected monarch of your life. You have a lot of sovereignty over your life. And you're really going to talk about settling. Let's say if settling was actually true. So, what caused you to get less than what you think you deserve? And see, eh, I had the wrong time on it. But that's where the flaw really stays. You're settling because you know you do not get the same attention. You think that you're still that beautiful rose that hasn't been plucked. I really want you to think about this. When we go through life thinking that we're settling, what you're telling people is that you don't deserve anything. You don't deserve being respected. And it's never settling for happiness because happiness is a very high state of being jovial. That's when you know you're highest. That's when you know you're doing stuff that you know that's going to benefit you. You can't really benefit settling because when you settle, think about that. Settling means I am not content. That's what settling means. Excuse me. Settling means I am not content. When you settle, you have to realize something. You're not being a complete person. You're actually putting yourself into dire straits. Who settles for a bronze medal, a silver medal? Everybody wants gold, but how are you going to work towards it? It's like asking anybody about past relationships, what did you do right or what did you do wrong? If you cannot explain what did you do wrong, then you're being phony. I just think that so many people usually talk about the settling shit like they're high and mighty. Like how do you see yourself? Do you think of yourself as someone who could do better? I mean, what is it? I really think that when people talk about settling, I think it's a major reflection on how they see themselves in the world. I think it's somebody who does not truly living in reality. So many times they're not happy. so many people are faking the funk. What you really discover is how much that person does not believe in themselves. I mean, but don't get ahead of yourself, because a lot of women do not have to settle at the height of their glory. Do they notice it? What do they say? Youth is wasted on the young. It's kind of hard to have someone who looks at you as settled. What's up, Black Angry Man? I want you to think about it. To tell a person that they're settling for you is to tell somebody, you were not my first choice, but you should be happy that I looked upon you. Mm, wow. Wow. I really want you to think about that. How would you feel if somebody said they settled for you? Think about that. Welcome, everybody coming in. I want you to think about that. How would you feel if somebody said, I settled for you? You are not my first, second, or third choice. Hmm. Or maybe that's where it ended up. What do we do when we have that type of person? Are we delusional? Are we keeping ourselves from something that can actually bring about happiness? Where do we put ourselves? Do we come as enlightened folks? Do we grant ourselves some type of reprieve? So, what do we get out of this? Do we get your pity instead of your respect? Do we get your lacklusterness instead of your love? We get your shame instead of admiration? I think it's real interesting. I don't know. What do you think in the chat? Do you think it's just a pity plea or somebody who fucked off and ruined their life instead of taking advantage of what they could have got for real? The best possible deal. I mean, really, are we going to get a fair shake in the deal? Hmm. Is it going to be decent? I mean, it is cashing out. You should know when to fold them and know when to hold them. You should have a realistic view of what you want. Like I said, if you're getting 70, 80% of what you want out of a person, you're winning. But see, everybody wants to go for 100 and 100%. But they don't want to give 100. That's the bad part. They don't want to give up their part. They want you to put 100% of your essence when they just give you 20. Lift your disdain. I think that's the most interesting part about the conversation ahead. Why do you have such disdain for this type of person? Hmm. What's up, Snowman? What's up, Namer? I'm really thinking about that. This whole settling bullshit. It kind of grinds my gears. How are you going to settle for something when you were at your lowest? I'm going to open up for a little bit, get everybody else's point of view. I know I'm not usually my lively self, just in the office. Hey, what's up, Snowman?
What's up, Dr. Faulkner?
Yeah, what do you think about the settling subject?
You know, black women have always said it to us for many, 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 many years. And it should drive a man absolutely mad when he hears a statement like that to answer your question.
Hmm.
When I said earlier, I kind of said it as a joke that I settle for happiness. I kind of meant that as a joke.
Yeah, I got it.
But at the same time, I have been told that I settle for Jody. And that pisses me off every time I hear it.
You settle for the person who saved your life?
So I'm told. I don't listen, but so I'm told. This woman has saved my life three separate times. Three times. The biggest one is when she first came into my life.
Hmm.
And yet I'm being told I settled,
Hmm.
which prompted the joke. If that's the case, I settled for happiness. I'm totally happy.
Sounds like a plan.
And it gets on my nerves when men want to respond, and you've spoken about this before, when men want to respond, but because of society and the cage that they're put into by the current climate, they're not able to.
Hmm.
Let me say that again for those of you in the cheap seats at the old Baltimore Arena and old Memorial Stadium. A black man wants to respond, but because of the current climate and the people within that climate, he can't respond because it will spark, and I'll add this, because it will spark an outrage from the bitter black bitch brigade.
Oh, yeah.
It'll spark an outrage. Lord knows I can provide stories of times since my wife and I moved from Indiana to North Carolina and back to Indiana, and we're planning to move west. It'll spark an it, be, because I am happy, and I know other black men like myself who are happy and are not afraid to sing it. I didn't say it, I said sing it.
Hmm.
It sparks an outrage, which prompts the question, why are they so outraged? I have a couple of theories, and one of them is we didn't choose them. We boldly didn't choose them. It's like it makes you wonder. I'll go ahead and pose the question to the chat and to you, Dr. Faulkner. It makes you wonder what took black men so long to finally respond. As I said, I got a couple of theories, but it's just taken so damn long. Am I wrong in this?
No, just observant. It's like, what do I get for the cost of my belonging?
Mm-hmm.
What do I get for the cost of my sweat, blood, and tears? For my loyalty?
Let me borrow from the greatest wrestler of all time. What did we get from bleeding, sweating, and paying the damn price every day?
And there goes your question. There goes the question right there. It's like, you say you're settling, but what other options do you have?
Exactly.
It's the old saying, water seeks your own level.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not even just black women, it's just women in general in this modern day.
Yeah.
They talk about they don't want to settle,
Yep.
but they miss out on their best chance to get the best man. And let's say they get that man.
Yeah. Yeah.
It looks like that man might have to just leave you alone.
Mm-hmm. See, this is what I found out, and this is true across the board, especially since I met Jody. Modern women don't like old school men.
They sure as hell don't.
Let me say it again for those of y'all in the cheap seats at old Chicago Stadium. Modern women don't like old school men, and I'm as old school as it gets. I open the door for Jody. I hope I pull up the chair for Jody. I hold her hand in public, and she holds mine. We wrap our arms around each other when we're walking. I do for her, she does for me. That's as old school as it gets, and I saw it with my parents before my dad died.
Mm-hmm.
And when a man refuses to change and keeps those old school values, I'll say it again, it sparks an outrage. I was told once upon a time, 2017, you need to evolve. You need to kiss my ass because I'm not changing for no. I was dating a young lady in 2017. I held the door open for her and she looked at me like I had grown a horn.
Mm.
What does that tell you?
Wow.
Now, you really don't have to do that. Like, it's how I am. Apparently, that wasn't what she was used to. See, what I also found with modern women, especially when they've been single for so long, and here I go ruffling feathers again, as this is part of Diary of a Mad Snowman. I said before they don't like a man with old school values. They don't like a man with old school values that brings calm, that brings peace, that brings everything they're looking for, but they are too damn blind to see it.
Mm. It maybe in hindsight, you know, wiser people will tell the younger people, don't waste your good years.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's that.
Perhaps. Anyway, excuse me, Brian. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay. All right. Like what you said about you, Jody, you guys walk hand in hand and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
I was raised to be respectful like that. Open the door, pull out the chair, be a gentleman. My father taught me that.
Yep.
My mother taught me that. But I also remember their generation, women also had to learn how to hold their own. I mean, given the
Mm-hmm.
circumstances that they came from, where I'm from and everything. But when I came here, a lot of older women, like say I'm walking into a supermarket or a grocery store or whatnot, a lot of older women, mostly like late, early boomers, or some of the first Gen Xers, I usually let them pass. Whenever both of us are trying to go through a door, I stop, I move
Yep.
aside, say after you and everything, be like a gentleman and whatnot, and they learn to be appreciative of that. No matter what race, age, race or whatever, I was just being cordial and polite like that, and
Yeah.
some are right with that.
Yeah. They're not
And
they're not appreciative of it, and you're so right.
no, they were appreciative they were appreciative of that. They smiled and said thank you. Just nodded.
Oh, okay. I heard that wrong. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And I remember one chick I was once involved with. She was English. She had a good sense of humor. We didn't hold hands. We didn't usually hold hands, but we would lock arms. But we make a joke about it. Sometimes we hold it and then we go and switch again. And since she was a big fan of the Wizard of Oz, we'd be just dancing like we're off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz. But some people I realize see one thing differently and others don't. Like what's going on in the States, some women have this weird sense of contempt. Over in Europe, it's a little bit different because they don't have the same hang-ups, I guess, regarding sex and sexuality and other things and relationships.
Which leads to a word you said just a moment ago, contempt.
Contempt, animosity, and weird expectations. By the way, Snowman, how you doing?
Better. Much better.
Yeah. You should see me.
You sound like it.
I still got a few things to catch up on before Christmas, because I know my daughter Cheyenne's going to be here. My son Dakota's going to be here. So I'm probably going to wind up taping my show for Friday and Monday.
Yeah. It was a really rough Wednesday this week.
Yeah, it was.
It was a rough Wednesday this week with all the bronze sexual confessions.
And it just kept. I got someone editing those for me. I think they're gonna like use my facial expressions and such. But with it, I'm so glad, Charles, you brought up the word settling, because it applies all over the place. Because I've had people tell me for years that I settled to be a sportscaster.
I never heard of anybody settling to be a sportscaster, which is.
Well, when you date the wrong people that constantly tell you, why don't you try this career? Why don't you try that career? Or they throw the major question at you, and I know all the gentlemen have been through this. Why did you decide or settle to do that?
That sounds stupid as shit.
That's meant to be condescending.
Very condescending.
Very
Low blowing. By the way, on a little special note, did you know that Dubai police actually has an all-female SWAT team unit?
Oh, wow.
I'm not surprised.
They're very progressive over there. It's probably one of the
in certain ways they are, but in other aspects they are very conservative.
It's still a very conservative country. Let's not get out of there.
Right.
Hey, I grew up nearby. I grew up in a neighboring country, so I would know.
It's like very progressive. They have a male SWAT unit as well, but they also have a all-female SWAT team also. They're not bad. They're going to be heavily trained because the budget they have. They have over 15,000 employees.
Yeah.
15,000 employees, and they buy a lot of hardware. The problem is you need to have you need to get those people thoroughly trained. Excuse me?
You're not going to outrun their cars, I'll tell you that much.
However, the urban planning inside throughout Dubai City is like not the best, especially during the monsoon when some certain streets get flooded and whatnot.
Oh yeah.
Many cities on the Arabian side of the Gulf. A lot of their urban planning was done back in the day when it was just flat desert. But and I'm speaking from experience here, folks. They didn't do a lot of it. They don't understand the importance of subterranean sewer systems and drainage and whatnot. So it's some of that urban planning is not up to par where it needs to be.
No.
Well, you got to think they're coming up to. It's a little bit different when you're. I'll give you for example the U.S. military. It took
Uh,
the U.S. military years, if not almost a decade, to catch up to urban combat and urban tactics
hmm.
because we never truly fought in that type of environment before. Ike Sandog, when he was a tank commander,
Mm.
the worst
Ooh.
place you could put tanks is in an urban environment
Yeah,
because
because you're very confined,
you're
unable to maneuver properly.
you're confined and also coming around a corner, you don't know if that's an RPG pointing at you.
Yeah, especially which is with like the RPG sevens because they're light and easy to transport. But if you want something heavy duty, it's going to be an RPG 9, but that one's um, they're a lot bulkier. I've carried one. I've carried both types, and I'm like, yeah, I'll take the seven. It's lighter, easy to maneuver. I can get from point A to point B without it being so cumbersome. But the 9, that's a big heavy motherfucker. That's for the heavy duty. And you got to worry about snipers as well, Charles. Let's not forget
Yeah.
about that.
Oh yeah.
Well, I got to.
I mean,
I'm gonna say one thing, and then my meds are beginning to kick in, so I'm gonna go on to bed.
mm,
You ready for that Super Bowl preview Christmas night, Charles?
Hell yeah.
I
Uh,
don't care what anybody says. That Christmas night clash in Santa Clara will be played twice. Once in Santa Clara, and the second time will be in Vegas.
oh yeah. I think in totality it's going to be very interesting.
Oh yeah,
Very
it's
interesting.
either going to be it's either going to be a slobber knocker of a defensive struggle, or it's going to be a 50-point game, given both offenses.
Yeah. I mean, believe it or not, those offenses can put up points very quickly.
Oh yeah,
And then
oh yeah.
the flip side, their defenses can shut you down and out.
This is a repeat of when we played each other in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
That wound up 20-17, and Justin Tucker walked us off.
Mm-hmm.
Justin Tucker walked it off. I wouldn't be surprised if it comes down to that. And with both teams, all we got to do is win 2 out of our last 3, and both of us get the number 1 seed in our conference.
Yeah.
Since the Cowboys are frauds and the Eagles are starting to be frauds.
Look what happened to the Eagles. They followed apart.
Thank you. They've lost 3 in a row, and they shouldn't have lost to Seattle on Monday.
They should have lost to Seattle. I knew they were going to lose to the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Just barely kept the Cowboys at bay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
we're going to the Super Bowl, right? I just had to say it.
I know.
Shout out to Victor.
Yeah. He's going to be my Cowboys insider when I start my podcast network next year. Or actually, we're starting a draft night.
Get some of that draft night footage.
I am.
Or some of the coverage at least.
Mm-hmm. I'm doing a draft show like I did last year. I nearly made it through the full first round, but my body just like gave out. My body's like, we gotta go to bed.
You know how they like to prolong, they like to drag this stuff along with the drafts, man.
Yeah, and
Sometimes
it's stupid to me. It's stupid to me. They've made the first round. How do I say this bluntly? They made the first round like a vaudeville show.
That's why I don't like to watch. I don't like to stay up and watch the stuff. I was just like, I'll deal with them later, Everything. I mean, plus not to mention, just because you got somebody drafted, that's not it. That's not the end of the story. Sometimes there could be some wheeling deals between teams,
Exactly.
exchange of players and such, and draft picks.
Well, I'm going to be totally prepared for I'm going to be totally prepared this year because if all goes well with the GoFundMe I'm going to put up tomorrow,
Hmm.
we will be out of here before the draft.
Cool.
And let me speak let me speak on that a minute. This ties into the settling subject because it's across the board and many things. When I mentioned my stadium tour and my GoFundMe link that I'm going to put up tomorrow, I had someone tell me that I was settling to do that instead of going out and finding a job. And this is after I explained everything that happened.
That's trolling. That's not trolling.
I mean, that's how you know when bastards are not worth it.
They're not. They're not. And
That's
it's
what it really is.
I'm done with the trolls, man. I'm done with them. I looked at them and laughed. And it's like, do you even realize what I've gone through? Physically, emotionally, spiritually? Which prompts a question in terms of launching this thing. Charles, what is your schedule either tomorrow or Friday?
Well, I gotta work 11 to 7, 11 p to 7 a.
Okay. Here's why I'm asking. I would love to have your help and your followers' help as well as mine, and we do a dual cast and launching this GoFundMe for the stadium tour. And I will explain right now to the folks in the chat the 3 purposes that I have for the stadium tour. My wife gave me the idea when I was battling cancer of wanting me to see every stadium in the country, especially all of my favorites. And I've already seen one in Kansas City, but I want to see more. So since she gave me that idea, I'm thinking, okay, how do we do this? How do we pull this off? I'm designing some t-shirts right now with a company I'm working with that will promote that.
Mm-hmm.
But here are the 3 purposes for the stadium tour, and I've never shied away from any of them. The first one is to get some moving expenses so my family and I can get out of Indiana. I've never shied away from that, and I never will shy away from that. That's the first one. The second one, and it's very important to me, I want to talk to cancer survivors and or cancer patients and encourage them.
Mm.
I want to encourage them. And the third reason, and Charles, this is going to put such a smile on your face, and I hope this puts a smile on the face of every man in the chat. The third reason is very simple. With the hashtag, this one's for Jody. Because had it not been for her, I wouldn't be here.
Oh, yeah.
What's up, angry black man?
You don't know what type of monster she damn near unleashed. You don't know what type of monster she damn near unleashed when she said, hey, we need a second opinion.
Yeah.
Jody Chop.
Yeah.
Sorry,
man.
wrong. Yeah, excuse me, got that wrong analogy.
No, you're fine. That's exactly the analogy needed. That's exactly the analogy needed. When she was crying all the way back from North Carolina, and when we got back up here and I was still fogged out from chemo, she got steely-eyed and focused, and she set the ball rolling, and I want to honor her. She's a huge part of this. She's the reason I'm here 3 separate times. And the first one was the most important because I was planning to end my life. And then I got a message from her, and as I said, she virtually raced the clock and caught me.
Yep.
That's something else.
Yes,
July
sir.
18th, 2018. 3 days before my birthday.
Mm.
Talked to her the 18th, the 19th, the 20th, I was sick. My birthday, I was sick, but we reconnected the day after. And I haven't stopped talking since. And it's been almost 5 years.
Sometimes you just need that little push.
Yep. And she gave it to me.
Goes back into settling. You didn't settle. You got the winning lottery ticket.
Mm-hmm.
Cashing that lottery ticket at the most opportune time. Some people wait till it's too late, though.
I'll say it again. I'll say it again.
Mhm.
She raced the clock and saved my life.
Indeed. Oh. Sorry, I just had to stretch.
It's all right.
Excuse me.
Happens to everybody.
Oh, man.
I just think the whole settling thing.
Mm-hmm.
How can you settle for greatness?
I sure didn't. Because,
Oh,
man.
You settle because you did not reach greatness.
Right. Right.
in some cases, that person will settle because, well, they think they're settling because they are unwilling or completely incapable of seeing your greatness. Even when you elevate yourself and make yourself, even if you can achieve greatness, even if you can push yourself and raise yourself to a higher status in life,
And at
they're
that
still going to
point,
look at you. There's still going to be some people.
and at that point in time, they're unwilling to see your greatness.
Yeah.
If they keep seeing it and they keep seeing it happen, they don't want to see it.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't want to see it. And it's bad that they don't want to see it, or at least try. You know, Jody saw it in me, and she pushes me every day to walk in it and move toward it. She pushes me every day to walk in it and
All
move.
5'3" of her.
Mm-hmm. Every day, man.
Relax. I'm not going to sing the Randy Newman song. I know better than to do that.
You know how many people? You know how many people I've told that my wife's intro into my program was just all off of an idea.
Mm-hmm. And a evil smile.
oh, she gave me such a wicked smile.
How do you want me to do this?
That was her next question. And of course, y'all know what happened next.
Mister, will you please wake up?
Like I said, y'all know what happened next.
Speaking of which, anytime we see something ridiculous happen, you know we got to hear a certain such and such say,
Oh, I got you.
What in the all types of blue hell?
And
exactly.
as far as settling goes, Charles, this one's for you.
God damn it! You can't make this shit up.
Hard to.
You can't make this stuff up, man.
Even if you try.
Exactly. I mean, how did the great Al Michaels said it best in 2000? You couldn't film that scene in a movie and make it look that good.
Mhm. Just like a lot of things are just twisted and turned in this world.
Mm-hmm.
There are things that right now don't make sense, like the Eagles slumping. LeBron was supposedly winning until he got slapped by the New York Knickerbockers in the NBA Cup.
Oh, Charles, I have to tell you this one. When we went to Soldier Field, there was a radio station there, Power 92 in Chicago. And they were loud as all get out until Jody and I walked by.
Ooh.
Do I need to explain anything else?
No. No.
You want to talk about making a tent quiet, and from what Victor told me, all of their eyes were on me and Jody. Like, what for? We're here for a football game.
I've had that look happen to me a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
My younger brother also had that experience one time. He was just out in the park and he was with this woman, and this woman had a 7-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand we're Eritreans, but often some people mistake us for Somalis. And there was a Somali couple with their kid out in the park. They saw my brother and the chick and the woman he was with.
Yep.
And then he looked at them. They looked at him kind of funny, and he did what we're supposed to do. He just got up. He walked over to them. He greeted them in Arabic and asked if he was one of theirs. He said, "No, I'm one of mine."
Mm-hmm.
He said, and they're like, "Oh, my apologies, our apologies. You kind of look like us." I said, "We all look alike. It's cool." Me, I do the same thing when somebody stares at me. Especially like
Yeah.
I start having a conversation with people. Sometimes they look at me. I just
That's what I do.
and say hello.
That's what I do. I strike up a conversation.
It's easy that way. I mean,
Mm-hmm. It's easier that way, and then they look at you weird. Like, what? Someone's actually being nice to me?
why does this African sound the way he does?
Mm-hmm.
I've never heard an African talk like that. I'm like, I remember
Lord knows I still get it when people hear me do play-by-play to this day. Why do you sound like that? Like, I sound like me.
You're from Chicago. You're supposed to sound a certain way.
Yeah, it's one of the first jokes Jody made, and we still make that joke to this day. Well, let me get on out of here because I'm getting ready to fall asleep.
All right, no.
I will talk to y'all later. Thank you.
Come back, get some rest.
Thanks, man.
And then there was 3.
What's up, boys?
BM, how you been?
What's up, man?
Chilling, man. How you been?
How you feeling to the subject?
Chilling, man. Oh, on the subject? I don't know.
What's up?
I think it's fucked up. Somebody would say that to a man. I think it's fucked up. I think Western women in the 21st century have a worship of themselves.
Beyond description.
I think Kevin Samuels said it best. You got to be damn near God for a lot of women nowadays.
Mm-hmm. And those are the ones that ain't worth it. As I remember certain cat once said, the juice sometimes isn't worth the squeeze.
I mean, if you think back to the whole Cheesecake Factory fiasco, it's like, that's fucking crazy that you have women out here, most of whom don't make 60 grand, really thinking they're above the Cheesecake Factory.
So uppity.
It's a false uppity. It's a fake bimbo
False bravado.
mentality. Because women wasn't doing this in the late 90s and early 2000s. Nobody was having these stupid conversations.
No. Did you check out AB's shorts recently?
No.
There's this one clip he showed. I remember it was like him reacting to it. This one clip where a guy's asking a woman, and this is a little ass Gen Z. She one of them ratchet ones, you could tell. And she's saying, how much, so the dude asked her, how much does the guy have to make to be with you? She said, 2 mil. And he said, 2 mil? And she's like, 2 mil a month. What do you bring? What do you offer? She said, a good coochie, and sometimes I'll cook. Shit. Get the fuck out of here. AMG back in the day rapped about bitch better have my money. And explain, ain't
It's
nothing like,
it's a fake, false, uppity mentality. Like, where does this caviar and champagne fairy tales come from?
what have they been growing up? What have they been raised on?
Yeah, when you was raised on Hamburger Helper.
No, not that. I mean, what were they watching on TV coming up?
The same shit I was watching, I assume, but I'm it's like I was born in 81, so I remember the lifestyles of the rich and famous.
I remember that. But they grew up
And then
watching MTV Cribs and
yeah,
MTV
exactly. I
videos.
was just getting ready to say that. Then it got rehashed into MTV Cribs. It's like, okay, what does that have to do with me?
That just lets you know what kind of mentality they're with, and they just think that you got to be. You know what? I remember a lot of people sleep on Outkast album, Speaker Box Love Below. But on the Love Below side, remember there was a song called Roses? And Big Boy's 16 bars on that one explain exactly the type of mentality some of these women have. And you realize, oh, so that's what you are. Call that for what she is. That's why at the end of the song, you had Andre 3000 saying, better come back down to Mars. We're chasing cars. What happens when the dope gets low, bitch? You ain't that fine. No way. No way. No way. Crazy bitch. Crazy bitch. Crazy bitch. Crazy bitch. Crazy bitch. Bitch.
I just think it's just fucking retarded nowadays with a lot of women.
Hey,
that
just
look
like
down
just like
on.
hip hop is all retarded shit. And they bumping that trap shit,
It's
taking what they
just
have.
strange to have a fucked up view of the men that you count on.
That's the
You
thing.
count on
You
the
don't
garbage
count on.
man. Say what you want to say. You count on them. You
Look at it
count
this
on the
way.
plumbers.
Look at it this way, APM. They need us, but they hate the fact that they need. No, they don't want us, but they hate the fact that they unfortunately need us.
Like, how
They
long
don't
have you heard
understand.
men say, women, you can't live with them, you can't live without them?
Damn right. They've been saying that since forever.
But regular men don't look down on women.
No, they just understand the frustrations of being with them and understand what life is like without them. Sometimes you got to ask yourself, would you rather have peace of mind? Would you rather just are you just rather want a relationship to avoid being lonely?
Hold on, I'll be right back.
Wow, sound like you living a high life out there, man.
Not necessarily. Can you meet him up?
Let me see if I can get that.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking to myself, like, we go through it, and we look at these discrepancies, and we're just saying, hey, is it truly, truly a mark of settling? Well, since I'm here, I might as well just sit my ass down. Or is it you are where you really are?
I learned a long time ago. Some women, a woman is settling when she is with a man, but she is constantly hostile and contemptuous and resents him. She hates him because she's with this guy, but she can't do any better. And if she were to break up, she knows that he could probably find better. So it's better to stay in the relationship and drive him to to the brink of death, push him into having a heart attack, than to let him go and let him find better, because then he'll realize she full of shit. So that's the biggest fear a lot of women have, is that the man they're with will leave them and find somebody better.
Yeah.
I mean, what's his face? I mean, in the Fighting Temptations, I remember, that movie with Cuba Gooding Jr. and Beyonce and everybody.
Oh, yeah.
What's his name? Wendell Pierce.
Mm-hmm.
He calls out Latoya Jackson, Samuel Jackson's wife. Latoya something Jackson,
Yeah.
because she was like always claiming she was a widow, and then he just like he says, you know what, cut the crap. Your man left you for somebody else. He left you for a younger, lovelier woman who makes him feel alive. Because you always kept just pushing him up a goddamn wall with your nagging and your nitpicking, and he just did not have time and had zero tolerance for that nonsense. He left you and found somebody better, and he's happy.
Huh.
And sometimes,
I mean,
they just really want to say, fuck your happiness.
oh yeah, fuck your feelings. Like Chris Rock talked about, bitches like say, how dare you be happy without me? I'm like, bitch, you don't control my happiness. Who are you to control my happiness? You don't know what makes me happy. And don't force whatever misconceptions you have about male happiness upon me.
A lot
Not
of women
forget,
don't
some
understand.
women. Hold on a second, ABM. I just want to put out this one important point here. Let's not forget that some women, when they settle with you, they gonna pull the old bait and switch on you. When they get with you, they go put out. And when you put a ring on it, that's when they start rationing and shit. Like, what the fuck is this? I used to get all the wild shit. Now if I put a ring on you, you just act like you don't do that shit no more.
That's how they treat it.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Bait and
a lot.
switch, man.
A lot of women, they can't picture your happiness without including
Yeah.
themselves in it. Like your happiness has to have them at the center of it. That's why so many women get pissed off when you play the game and shit.
Or playing music, or just chilling with the boys, or watching the game.
You gotta realize it.
Hell, there's some women that just look at you funny when they see you with somebody else. And like, fuck you doing with her?
Yeah,
And she don't necessarily have to be of a different race.
yeah.
I remember it was like, there was a chick I met. She was kind of heavy set. She told me a story of like how, she was like roommates with a couple of guys in college, in this high school she was at. And one of those dudes, they had a girlfriend who was insecure as hell. And this girl's 5'8", by the way, 5'8" brunette, white girl. And this blonde was like, must have been like 5'4". So this blonde was so insecure her boy. This woman was roommates with her boyfriend. She kept accusing her of shit. She's like, I don't have time for this. But this skinny little white girl just slapped her one time. Brunette, who's usually pretty slow, just grabbed her by the back of her head and drove her face first into the wall. She had zero tolerance for that type of shit. And she wasn't fucking with anyone. She was just like, just herself, and she didn't have time for the BS.
I mean, it is what it is for a lot of people. Once you master the game of, hey, I must evolve for me and not for thee, people get pretty hung up on that.
Because they can't understand you being righteous.
They can't understand you doing for self.
Doing for self, but when you do it for self, you're doing it for genuinely for self. Some guys do it for ulterior motives, and it comes off as fake. That's the problem. So when you come out and you just being yourself and being genuine about it, staying true to yourself, they can't comprehend how could you be so happy the way you are, or they can't really comprehend why you improving yourself, because it reflects on them. Because when you're doing stuff like that, it holds a mirror to them, and they have to look at themselves and see, am I being myself? No. Women want the beautiful lie over the ugly truth. Just pretty much just up, Karen. Yeah, I gotta get up out of here. I'm gonna talk to you guys later.
All right, fellas.
Peace.
All right, buddy.
All right, I'm going to hit y'all later. Peace.
All right, take it easy.